This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
This woman is your lawful wedded wife.
Ooh, yeah!
Place the ring on her finger and repeat after me. With this ring, I thee wed.
Hello and welcome to With This Ring, episode 9. I am your co-host, Ryan Everett.
I'm your co-host, Cindy Everett.
And today we will be looking at the leftovers, the top matches, the matches that were in my top 15 that we have yet to discuss. So that leaves 6 matches.
The leftovers sounds a little denigrating.
The best of the rest, maybe?
The rest of the best, yes.
The rest of the best, yeah.
That's better.
Yeah, that sounds a little better.
Than the leftovers.
Leftovers is kind of like...
That implies,
the number 200s.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and these are top 15, but we didn't watch them in order of your ranking. We watched them in chronological order.
Right. So we'll go over the matches in chronological order, and then at the end we'll go over where I placed them.
Okay.
So, spoiler, they're all 10 stars right off the bat.
10. Okay.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. These are, in my opinion, at worst, the 15th best match in the history of the company. Yeah. And then, so we'll go through these 6 matches, and then we'll kind of go through my list overall.
Okay.
Kind of a breakdown of what wrestlers were on it the most, what events were on it, what matches from what events appeared, what type of matches.
Oh, do some data analytics.
Yes, exactly.
Is that what you did?
Sabermetrics, yeah.
Really?
Kind of. I mean, it's no tables or anything. They're just
come on.
three little breakdowns. It's
okay.
Too in depth. And then at the very end, I'll give you a little brief history on WCW and what to expect with the next portion of
our next foray.
Yes, the next portion of the podcast. But before we get all there, we will start the list, and we will go to WrestleMania 10. Now, we've already had one match from WrestleMania 10 that we've gone over. Do you remember which that was?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and I do not. Well, once you tell me, I probably will. But can you remind me?
We watched it, and then its rematch a year later from SummerSlam.
Oh, gosh.
They were both gimmick matches.
Oh, with Andre the Giant?
No.
Well, that's a gimmick match.
Well, not really. Those are just matches.
What's that even by gimmick match?
Gimmick means like a special thing involved.
Oh, like a tables, ladders, and chairs match?
Yeah.
It was Edge and Christian then. No, that was later, though.
Yeah, that was later.
Just tell
you
me.
Said one of the words. Not a table match, not a chair match.
Ladder match?
Yeah. What was the first ladder match? The one-on-one ladder match.
First one-on-one ladder match. This is embarrassing.
Razor Ramon. Shawn Michaels.
Oh, okay.
Ladder match.
All right.
Yes. So
apparently we watched that.
We did. We did. Shawn Michaels' ass is hanging out during parts of it.
That's right.
There you go. Okay. Now we remember.
I remember seeing his butt.
Yep.
Why did you just say that?
Oh, I was trying to give you
get
a chance to save some face, but
nope.
Whatever. So WrestleMania 10 is basically remembered. It has 2 great matches, and then not a lot else. But the 2 matches are widely regarded as 2 of the best matches in the history of the company.
Yeah, so then you don't have to worry about the rest of the show.
And then you also have a feel-good moment at the end, even though it's not a good match. So the match we watched this time around was the opener.
Mm-hmm.
Owen Hart versus Bret Hart, both from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Yep. So this started with... So Bret had been the guy. It was the champ the previous year. And lost it to Yokozuna.
He lost the champ to Yokozuna?
Yep, in 1993. He beat Ric Flair for it earlier in late 92. Kind of like out of nowhere, just as like a shock guy to win it.
Hmm.
So he was the number one guy, but Hulk Hogan came back, and Hulk Hogan, of course, has to be number one guy.
Yes.
So then it was originally supposed to be Hogan versus Bret Hart at SummerSlam, but Hulk Hogan didn't want to do that. So Vince McMahon kind of
Why not?
He didn't want to fight a guy who was too small, he considered Bret Hart.
Really?
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay.
So Vince McMahon kind of like went back and forth, supposedly kind of played the two off each other, according to Bret, but Bret's kind of... the only one who's really told the story is Bret, and Bret's kind of one-sided in a lot of his personal dealings. So, but regardless, eventually Vince McMahon was like, I'm done with you, Hogan. Go away. And he had Yokozuna just squash him for the belt. So Yoko held the belt again and held it until WrestleMania. And going into WrestleMania, there was the Royal Rumble, of course, 1994. And Lex Luger and Bret Hart won it.
How did
at the same time.
Win it?
They tied going over the top rope.
Okay.
So both men's feet hit the floor at the same time. So while all this was happening, Owen Hart had been around. Really, in '89 he came up as the Blue Blazer.
Blue Blazer?
Yeah, which unfortunately he would become again in 1999 to horrible results. But back then he was like, they just brought him in as the Blue Blazer because the Hart Foundation was a heel tag team. So you didn't want this high flyer to have the same name.
Okay.
So put him under a mask. And then later in '92 he came in as Owen Hart and teamed with Jim Neidhart, Bret Hart's old partner.
As their cousin?
Brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law. That's right. Yeah.
And then by this time they were openly acknowledging, he's Bret's younger brother. But Bret Hart was by this time like the IC champ, mid-level guy. So it wasn't like, oh, he has to watch out for him anymore. So then Owen kind of floundered around a little bit for the mid-card. And then at '93 Survivor Series, well, Jerry Lawler had been feuding with Bret Hart.
such a tangled web.
It really was. This was actually pretty interesting, but so Jerry Lawler was feuding with Bret Hart because Bret Hart won the King of the Ring. So they were feuding over who was the king of the WWF.
Got it. Oh.
And Jerry Lawler started making fun of the Harts.
This really doesn't like a soap opera.
Yeah. So Jerry Lawler started making fun of the Harts, mainly their parents, because they were so old, he said. They were like 75 at this point.
Well, I mean, how old are the Harts?
No, I mean, the Hart parents were like 75, and he was making fun of them for being so old.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm sure they weren't like any older than...
Right.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, Bret and Owen are like grown-ass men. So,
right.
Yeah, their parents are going to be old.
Exactly. But it was just... He made fun of them for being old and for having 12 kids, which... That is a lot of kids.
Oh, Lord.
And they all went into wrestling or married wrestlers.
Oh, yeah, I remember you saying that.
So, going into the '93 Survivor Series, it was Jerry Lawler and his three knights.
His three knights?
Yes.
Okay.
Against the Hart family in the Survivor Series 4-on-4 match. And like 2 weeks before, Jerry Lawler got accused of statutory rape.
Oh.
Because when you wrestle in Memphis, you like basically make out with 15-year-old fangirls. So eventually that all got dismissed. That's a whole other story about whether or not it did. But anyways, so Shawn Michaels got subbed in. So the whole match is really bad because no one cares about it.
Right.
It's 30 minutes of just bad meandering. But the one important thing that does happen, Bret Hart's on the apron. Shawn Michaels whips Owen Hart into Bret Hart.
Oh.
And Bret flies into the
I remember showing that in the preview.
Right. Flies into the guardrail. Yeah. Shawn Michaels rolls up Owen and eliminates him. And Owen's the only guy eliminated from the Harts. They end up winning, but it's Bret and then his two retired brothers who are the winners. So Owen comes out and is all pissed at Bret and wants a match with Bret.
Gotcha.
And Bret's like, no, I can't fight my brother. So then over Christmas they get back together. They become a tag team.
They're still brothers. So.
Yes, they become a tag team and they challenge for the tag titles at the Royal Rumble. And during it, Bret Hart's knee is injured. And at one point, he's able to make a tag, but rather than go for the tag, he puts in the sharpshooter. But rather than submit, his own knees hurt so bad that he falls down. So the ref calls for the bell and calls it over because he can't compete anymore. even though Owen was fine. So Owen gets all pissed off because he's like, this was my one chance at a title. You've had the title all the time before. You don't care. You just wanted to win and look good yourself.
Right, and kind of just keep it from me.
Right. So then they set up. So then,
give me like the clip notes.
So Bret
version.
wins the Rumble later in the night.
Condensed.
So then they decide they have 2 Royal Rumble winners. Okay. So what are they going to do? It's before a time where they would just have a triple threat match.
Right.
So they do a coin toss where the winner will face Yokozuna first. And
the winner of the coin toss?
Yes.
Why don't they just have a match?
Well, because each guy is guaranteed a WrestleMania title
shot. Oh,
shot.
jeez. Okay.
So, and then whoever loses the coin toss, his first match will be against suitable competition.
Oh, I see.
So they wouldn't just be like, you get the night off.
Let's get us, yeah.
So Lex Luger wins the coin toss, loses a horrible match against Yokozuna. The match show opens with Bret Hart versus his suitable replacement,
Owen Hart. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that was a long setup. That was a long setup, man.
Yeah, it is. I'll admit that.
And I was starting to think you're talking about, Hogan being all too good for everybody, but who are the biggest, or like, who have been like the biggest divas in the company?
Oh, Hulk Hogan is by far.
Right, like who else?
Maybe
not divas, but like Hogan who are the biggest faces? Maybe you had Hogan and then John Cena, but between them, who were like the main?
I mean,
like the biggest,
between
biggest.
Hogan, after Hogan, you had like Bret Hart and then Shawn Michaels, and then Austin, Rock.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would say probably wrestlers that people who are non-wrestling fans could still name.
Right, yeah.
Hulk Hogan, I think Steve Austin, The Rock, and John Cena. If you don't know anything about wrestling, you could probably name those 4.
Guys. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, as you know,
right.
I got them confused for a long time because I thought if your last name was Hart, you should be the Heartbreak Kid.
Yes.
I still kind of think that, but this journey is very much solidified.
the differences between them, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And trust me, there's many more.
I like Shawn Michaels a lot more.
Yes.
A lot better.
So, the match happens. It's 20 minutes. It's the longest match on the WrestleMania card. It's very technical.
Yeah, I said it was very grabby.
Yeah.
That was my first note.
Yes, very technical. And because Owen doesn't want to just like beat up Bret to just beat him. He wants to out wrestle him and show him that he's the better wrestler.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
At this point, it's not like a hate-filled feud. It's like he just thinks he's better and wants to prove it.
Gotcha.
So, what did you think overall?
Pretty good overall. I mean, I did say, it was technical, very grabby. Pretty clean match. There wasn't any like shenanigans, no interference. I didn't make a comment that there was someone who had a Bret Hart sign that had like hair on it, which I'm just very impressed.
Attention to detail is very impressive.
Maybe it's mixed media for your wrestling signs. That's really going above and beyond. I remember when we watched, I made the comment a couple of times about that roll-up move and how it never works. And then that is what Owen Hart used to win.
Yep.
So
yeah, he showed you.
He did. But no, it was good.
Yeah, it's one of the best, for sure, openers of a pay-per-view ever, and just one of the best matches in WrestleMania history. And it made, like, Bret Hart was a guy already, but this made Owen Hart. Like, he wasn't really...
That kind of brought him up a
he was,
notch.
Like, he's in the 94 Rumble, and he just, like, gets tossed, like, with no consequences. Is
that the Ric Flair one that we watched?
No, this is,
Well, was it the 92 Rumble?
Yeah, that was 92.
Okay.
So, he's, like, just kind of putzing around until right before this.
Gotcha.
And supposedly, Vince didn't want to run this angle because he thought, why would 2 brothers want to fight each other? And, like, everyone that was there was like, Vince, that's all brothers do.
Seriously?
Like,
yeah, does Vince not have any brothers?
No, he does actually have a brother that's never been involved.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder what he does.
He's like an oil or something. He's like a very successful person. It's not like he's a
gotcha.
bum. Yeah, he doesn't become involved because he doesn't. He chooses not to be.
Gotcha. He's like, I'm independently wealthy and all of this nonsense.
And also, I think a big thing that they worried about, though, was, okay, we're going to make this younger brother who his claim is that Bret's always kept him in the shadow, the heel. Well, that might hurt Bret as the face. Like, you might have a lot of people that sympathize with Owen, but then...
baby brother.
But, but then Bret and Owen were both like, Owen could be a douchebag. Don't worry. He can like turn it on to the
Gotcha,
point where
yeah.
people will. Also, Bret had so much built up credibility with fans already that he would like just be able to dispute everything. Because like Owen said, like, oh, when I was the Blue Blazer, Bret made me go under the mask because he didn't want me stealing his spotlight and showing I'm a better wrestler. So then Bret would just be like, that's wrong. And people were like, no, Bret Hart said it's wrong. So it must be
Gotcha.
the
You kind
opposite.
of take his word.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, great match.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of thinking back when we did WrestleMania 10, the first 10, the later match, because we did that and then the rematch. This also has a rematch at the 94 SummerSlam in a cage match.
Oh, okay.
But I figured the two latter matches I thought were more your
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, for the for our before and after.
Right.
So the rematch of this, is that on your list?
That did not
Oh, okay.
make it, I think. Let me make sure. Oh, wait, maybe it did.
Can you share that with me?
Sure. No, it didn't. I had a lot more Owen than I thought when I put in Owen, but it's actually also matches with Kevin Owens.
Oh, yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
All right.
Do my own sabermetrics over your list.
So our next one, we went forward 4 years. And actually our next 4, there are 2 wrestlers in. We have 2 matches with one wrestler and then 2 matches with another wrestler.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So our next one we went to Over the Edge, 1998, May 31st, at the
UW Milwaukee Panther Center in Milwaukee.
Right. At the time, it's known as the
Panther.
Mecca Arena.
I could not find anything interesting about that place, to be honest.
I have to think there has to be something. It's
not easy.
It was a big multi-space arena for many years.
Yeah.
Still around, supposedly.
I don't know.
But anyways.
Yeah.
So
this was Steve Austin versus Dude Love.
Yep. With special referee Vince McMahon.
And The Undertaker.
Yeah, The Undertaker was the outside enforcer.
Oh, excuse me. So my notes are. I said Vince and The Undertaker are referees, I guess.
Close, but no.
It reminded me again, like that.
And we
that
also
setup
hold on, we're not done. We also had special guest ring announcer, the esteemed Pat Patterson.
Oh yeah.
And special guest timekeeper,
oh,
Gerald
yeah,
Briscoe.
That's right. There's a lot of people.
This is the match with the greatest ring introductions of all time by Pat Patterson.
That's right.
As he reads off notes cards galore for both Gerald Briscoe, Vince McMahon, and Dude Love, and then says he's not going to introduce a bum like this, Steve Austin, who is leading to the moral decay of the country.
This is very Attitude Era.
Oh yes, this is the peak of the Attitude Era, like storytelling. I would say, like this is early. Well, there's like 3 or 4 different eras of the Attitude Era itself.
Well, so what would be within an era, like epochs or something?
Yeah, but this is like the.
You're like whatever.
Like WrestleMania 14 is where it really gets kicked into high drive. And this is like the first end of the first salvo, I guess.
Okay.
And then from there it goes. But this is the first time it's like Vince McMahon's guy with everything on his side against Steve Austin. And how could Steve Austin possibly win this? And yeah, it is an amazing match.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
This is, Vince keeps kind of meddling. He keeps changing the rules.
Yes.
And,
Well, he wants to make sure that Pat Patterson gives everyone reminders on the rules because people have forgotten. Right. This is a reminder. This is a Falls Count Anywhere match. Well, who's making the dang rules up as they go along?
Austin goes through the Spanish announcers table. I mean, yeah, like Attitude Era, they kind of end up all over the place.
No, he doesn't go through.
Oh, that's what I wrote down. Austin goes through Spanish.
I think he goes over, gets whipped over because eventually both tables.
Off the apron. Yeah, that's right. That was a good move.
And then they go back by the cars and Austin gets thrown off of those and somehow getting a Stone Cold Stunner and pushed off of it allows you to bleed from your forehead.
Right, that's right. Yes,
it's one of the more oddly spotted blood. Blood jobs.
Whatever.
But Austin and just do it hard. They go at it 22 minutes also.
Yeah, it's a long one.
Yep. And then at the end, Austin hits the stunner, pins, and Vince decides not to count.
That's right.
So Austin is confronting McMahon, and Dude gets a chair, and Austin moves at the last second, and Dude just kills Vince with a chair shot. It is one of the sickest chair shots in the history of wrestling. He just destroys him with it. So then Vince McMahon is out for the rest of the night. And then Dude Love gets the mandible claw, or the love handle as it was called when he did his Dude Love.
So it's just the same move with different names?
Yes.
Okay.
Gets it on Austin, and right away Gerald Briscoe goes in to try and count it, but The Undertaker pulls him out, chokeslams him through the table.
Right.
Pat Patterson tries the same. Undertaker pulls him out, chokeslams him through the table. Because right before the match, Vince McMahon cut a promo saying this match will end by my hand only.
That's right.
The Undertaker was listening to that. Wasn't going to allow any substitute refereeing.
Very, very principled guy.
Yeah, that's the Undertaker at this time. By the end of the year, he'd be trying to give live. He'd be trying to embalm people live on the air.
Oh.
But 98 was a rough time.
So his biker taker?
Not really. This was kind of more. This was right before he turns into a more satanic taker.
Ah, gotcha. His satanic face.
Yes.
Well, normal for an Undertaker, I guess.
Yeah, they go through a lot.
He should be the spokesperson for that brewery in Grand Rapids.
Yeah,
that used to be
Undertaker Brewery.
No, it was like brewery.
Oh yeah, they had a Undertaker.
Used to be it's a funeral parlor.
Right, they had an Undertaker beer, I think.
Probably.
Yeah.
Which you kind of have to.
Yeah, you got to do that.
They should get him on their marketing though.
They should. Yeah. So it eventually ends when Austin hits the stunner and then makes Vince McMahon himself count the fall. And
that's right, yeah.
I remember this one being, like, personally watching this, going nuts. This was when I had to watch it on Scramble TV. And at the same time, the Bulls were playing the Pacers in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
So wait, so what time of year was this? Is the spring then?
May
Summer?
31st.
May. Okay, yeah.
So yeah, it was right before the Bulls' 6th NBA title. This was to get into it. Game 7 against the Pacers, and it was kind of like when the Bulls were old and
kind of
might not get it, but it was
years.
like the year where Jordan was like, "Screw it, I'm still gonna win another title." So it was. I was going in between the living room watching the Scramble TV and the kitchen where it was on NBC, so I could watch it.
Normal
free TV there.
What was your dad watching the basketball game?
I think he was downstairs already asleep because we had gone to a graduation party earlier. So he had to work at like 3 a.m. the next day.
Gotcha.
So he was downstairs asleep.
So you're just running.
Yeah, I was just running
around the house.
Yeah,
between
I was
the
in
TVs.
charge.
Aw.
Yeah, that's how it ran back in the day.
I was gonna say, like, why would your parents want let you watch Scramble Vision? But
well,
I don't care.
The other option was
To
paying
pay for it?
$40.
Oh, that wasn't gonna happen.
That wasn't happening. Nope.
In Scramble Vision, like, how much could you actually see?
You couldn't see much, but you could hear the whole thing perfectly.
Okay. So it's like listening to the radio.
Yeah,
almost.
basically. It was basically radio.
So when's the first time you actually like saw it?
Well,
Non-scrambled.
WrestleMania 7.
No, this match we're talking about.
Oh, probably like 2 months later because Nick and Matt had a lady who taped it for him. We had like a black box.
What do you mean?
Black boxes were people that had like, they didn't pay the cable company, but they had all the pay-per-view channels.
Well, that sounds illegal.
Oh, it's very illegal. Obviously.
Well, I don't get this poor woman in trouble.
Well, I think the statute of limitations is set, and I don't think Comcast
22
is
years,
listening.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I bet our ALEXA is listening over there, and she could relay the information.
Yeah. Well, we're just saying friends of Nick and Matt. That's
true.
There's plenty of Polish people that fit that description that they can't nail it down.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so like, it probably even less, because probably like a week or two, actually.
Oh, okay.
Because that's when we still lived by Fort City, so
right.
we're like 3 miles away. And yeah, I'd get the pay-per-views on a week or so delay, but already know what happens.
Obviously. But then you have to kind of put the picture with
it was good to know what actually happened. So yeah.
Yeah, this one has a lot of strong visual elements to
yes,
wrestling.
Yes.
Especially these Attitude Era matches where they're like all over the place.
Yes, it is definitely all over the place. And it helps to see it and actually figure out what's going on. But I think this is probably one of the funnest matches they've ever done in the company.
I could see that.
And
yeah.
it's one where, like, you don't even have to be a fan to really
It's entertaining.
enjoy.
It's very entertaining.
Like, there's
Definitely.
huge... Like, you could watch the 5 weeks going into it with the story and stuff, but the main thing to know is Vince McMahon is the boss, and he hates Steve Austin.
Yeah, I think that's well established.
Yes.
That's been well established.
So,
yeah, that was good. Like I said, did not find any facts about this
the
place.
Mecca.
The Mecca,
in Pittsburgh. So
the next one was also 1998, and
Yep.
how many months after that?
it is 4 weeks later,
Oh, 4 weeks later.
June 28th, 1998, at the Pittsburgh Civic Arena,
The
also known
Igloo.
as the Igloo.
Mm-hmm. At King of the Ring. It's a
Yep.
Hell in the Cell match. And so was there any, like, what was the lead up to this match then? Anything
This was
specific?
we
or-
watched the next night on Raw, where Dude Love quits the WWF.
That's right.
And then Vince McMahon fires him. And then later in the night, it's Undertaker versus Kane for #1 contender for the title. And Mankind runs out and gets involved and helps Kane win. So then Mankind is back, and he's trying to become like corporate Mankind and help Vince McMahon and help Kane at the same time.
Gotcha. But yeah, this is basically Mick Foley's trying to kill himself match.
Yes, this is the one where he...
Yeah, this is the
This
match.
is the one where, if you know anything about wrestling,
Right.
you know who Mick Foley is because of this match.
And he talked about this match when we saw him do a stand-up.
Yes, he did. Because it was a magic table.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes. Any Igloo facts?
Well, you kind of already said, it's actually in a lot of movies.
Yes.
So one of them was Sudden Death, a 1995 film starring Jean-Claude Van Damme,
Yep, where the president gets kidnapped, I believe.
who tries to save his children and the vice president from
Vice
terrorists
President. Okay.
during the pivotal Game 7 of the Stanley Cup
Yes.
Finals, which I've never seen that.
Oh, it's amazing.
Like,
He dresses up as the Penguins mascot at one time, and he has to take
okay.
the ice.
there's a couple other movies that were starred there,
Oh.
like The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh,
Oh.
a 1979 basketball movie. Dr. J was in it, as members of the fictional Pittsburgh Pisces, I guess hence the name. There was a movie called Rockstar, starring Mark Wahlberg as a musician.
I've heard of that movie.
Really?
No,
Yeah.
I don't recall
And
the
then-
Igloo scene.
Yeah. And Zach and Miri Make a Porno had an exterior shot. And then She's Out of My League, which I
Oh,
don't really remember that one.
I do that. Jay Baruchel?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Was it Mark Wahlberg, the actor we were trying to name all his movies, that one time we went out to open Outcry with Michelle and Chris?
I don't know why we would have tried to name Mark Wahlberg movies.
We were doing some sort of Mark Wahlberg related impromptu trivia.
Sure, it wasn't John Cena.
Maybe.
John Cena ate Mark Wahlberg.
I look like Mark Wahlberg ate Mark Wahlberg. No, I'm going to have to figure that out. But anyways, it was a very popular arena.
Yeah.
People were very
I
sad
guess-
when it got
did
usurped.
it get
Yeah.
Is it gone or?
I think it's gone. I looked that up. I forget. I took these notes a while ago.
Yeah. Yeah, 2010 it looks like it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Closed
contentious.
2010, demolished. Well, it was demolished between September 26, 2011 and March 31st, 2012. So I guess it took a while.
Yeah, I think they were selling off pieces of it or something.
Okay. That makes sense.
So, oh yeah, there's the I use this filming recording location.
Yeah.
That's what I read for you.
Yep. Oh, and Grateful Dead.
Oh yeah.
Dick's Picks is in there.
Oh, that's the one I skipped. I
know.
should have mentioned that for you.
That's all right.
A lot of these same arenas. I mean, granted, the Grateful Dead pretty much played everywhere, but I feel like
Right.
every Wikipedia article I read for these arenas, it's always like Grateful Dead played here 17 times, like that
Makes
one
sense,
in
yeah.
upstate New York.
Yeah, Albany, the
In
Knickerbocker.
Albany, yeah, the Knickerbocker Arena.
Yeah.
Grateful Dead played there a lot.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of any arena that was around from like 1965 to
Right.
1995.
A lot of Dead
The
shows.
Grateful Dead probably played there.
Multiple times. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But this was a short match, but it really had the high impact.
Yes. So
Because it basically started, because I obviously seen that clip before of him, falling off the top of the...
thrown off,
right.
yeah.
But I never really knew. I thought that was like the dramatic conclusion.
No, it's before the match actually.
Exactly,
Because
yeah.
it's actually 17 minutes, but that's before, or that's after
That
both
match
of the
was
big.
17 minutes?
That's after both of the big falls.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think so.
Well, that's what it says on Wikipedia.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
And I looked up in his book about this, and it's weird because his book is total shoot, like he's not hiding about anything in it. But even for this, he's kind of like talking around it. Like he doesn't. All he says is that he knew that because we saw the Shawn Michaels Undertaker one months ago now.
Yep.
But that was the first Hell in a Cell. This is the second one.
Gotcha.
And he was saying like he was worried about how bad it was going to be compared to that one because Shawn Michaels could do so much. And now Undertaker had a broken foot going into this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is
Me.
ridiculous.
Yeah, seriously.
And so he went to the headquarters to watch it because back then you didn't have a network. You had to actually, to see old footage, you had to actually go to Stanford. So he went with Terry Funk, legendary crazy old wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry Funk had the great idea to start the match on top of the cell.
Oh, that was his idea?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And Foley actually says in the book that after he got thrown off, his first thought was, I'm alive. And it wasn't that bad.
Really?
Yeah. And they always planned for the match to go on, but after it, like as they were all down there, Vince McMahon was like, this match is over. And like all the other people are like, all right, let's go home, you know. And he was like, no, I'm fine. I could get up. So he got up, got off, walked up, and he said he climbed the cage. He has no idea how he did it because it was pure adrenaline. Because it ended up being he had a separated or dislocated shoulder.
Right. I remember saying that. Yeah, what was their contingency plan if he like got seriously injured when he fell off the table?
Just roll out Steve Austin versus Kane as the next match.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
Judging from what happened 8 months later with Owen Hart, or 10 months later with Owen Hart, it would have been the match goes on, the show goes on.
Yikes, yeah, that's true.
But, so then they have that, so he comes up, climbs up, gets choke slammed off, and he is legitimately knocked out.
Yeah.
And he says in the book that if you look at it, he calls it the worst choke slam he ever took, because one of his feet never even, like, goes up. With the like when the Undertaker lifts in, he doesn't even like push up. One foot is just on the ground. And he says it actually probably saved his life.
Really?
Because if he went up, it would have been more impact. And the thing that hurt the most was the chair that was up there follows him down.
Really?
And that's why
his tooth.
His tooth was through his nose in the corner when he's smiling. He was trying to he was trying to show that his tongue could stick. He had a hole in his lip that his tongue could stick through, but because of his facial hair, you really didn't get to see it.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that.
But he says that if he took it the right way, like got actual height, he probably would have died because it would have been so much more impact.
Right. Well.
So then Terry Funk goes in the ring, and this was at a point where Terry Funk and Mankind were not on screen related. He was just there to help him, and he takes a chokeslam just to kill time.
Yeah, well,
including getting chokeslammed out of his shoes because he's not, wrestler Terry Funk. He's 55-year-old man Terry Funk wearing non-laced up New Balance shoes.
Obviously, yeah.
And eventually the match goes on, and
but I also remember this because I was asking you because I know that Undertaker. Well, Dude Love's a big guy, and Undertaker's also a really big guy. And I remember the cage looking a little flimsy, and I was like, "Is this gonna hold them?" And then, like on cue, like Undertaker's foot
there's a huge sag point. Yeah,
went through.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the same prep as the first one because, Undertaker is about 320.
Yeah, they're big guys.
Mick Foley's about 280, 290, and Shawn Michaels is about 230. So you figure it's about 50 pounds more than the first one, but it shouldn't have made that much.
Yeah, it was very
and there's parts where like they're walking towards the brackets and you see like parts of it just springing off, and it's it was
a lot of give in that.
So I'm not sure what the construction was or
what type of
anything like that. So the match goes on though somehow.
Yeah, and he takes another freaking fall.
Well,
doesn't he?
I mean, he gets
the thumbtacks.
Chokeslammed to the thumbtacks.
Yeah,
which is still pretty great. Well, first he gives the mandible claw to the Undertaker and gets on his back.
Right.
And Undertaker jumps back into the tag.
I think he falls off the top again.
Off the top rope?
I don't know. I wrote he has the iconic fall, then he falls through again.
Well, yeah, that's the choke slam through the cage.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah. He has a fall, the throw off,
the iconic one, and
choke slam through.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then then he gets his ass kicked for the match also.
That's just God. I can't believe.
And he was really messed up after the match.
Oh, you think?
Yeah. I mean, there's like the Beyond the Mat, the documentary. There's like an answering machine that he called the director after because he was friends with the director, and he's like out of it. And he says that was one of the very few times in his career where he was actually out of it. And there was he really didn't wrestle in like a hardcore match like that for about 7 or 8 months.
Probably a good idea.
Kind of like
cool
let's
off
make
after
him
that. Yeah.
a comedy guy and cool him off a little bit. And yeah, because
I mean, and like, what type of health insurance did he have at the time? If he would have gotten?
Oh, probably none.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, because independent contractor.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That could have. Yeah, why would I guess? I can't decide that's really admirable or really stupid.
I think it's both.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
why would you? How did he what was his thought process on deciding this is what I want to?
You got to give the fans the best show possible.
Okay.
And I mean, it worked.
That's true. Yeah, we all remember it.
Yeah, you ask pretty much anyone that watched wrestling in the Attitude Era, name a match, let's say, what did Mankind do? 95% of them will be able to say Hell in a Cell. He took the 2 big bumps into the magical table.
The magical table. Then the thumbtacks.
For that, we saw him in South Bend, Indiana.
The Dewdrop Inn.
The Dewdrop Inn across the street from the prison.
Obviously. And
he talked about how when he was at one of his comedy shows, someone came up to him afterwards and was like, Hey Mick, I saw that Hell in a Cell match. Mick was like, Yeah? Yeah, I saw that match and I know how you did it. Yeah, how'd I do it? That table? It was a magic table. Mick's just like, you got it.
Yep, that's
a magic table. You figured it out. Don't tell anyone.
Is he still touring? That was a long time ago.
He's actually doing a new one now.
Oh, okay.
Well, it was supposed to be actually.
Oh, really?
2 weeks ago, or this Monday, I think they were having a show in Rosemont.
Oh,
but
well.
Obviously, that got rescheduled.
Right.
Hopefully, it gets rescheduled for the summer. We can maybe look into it.
Oh, yeah. That would be nice.
Because now it's a little bit over. His book came out in October of '99, but he was doing a 20-year anniversary tour of that.
Yeah. Seems like he's stayed relatively with it.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising. In '99, he was starting to forget how to get to his house.
Oh, jeez.
But now, then he retired though, and so
the repeated trauma
stopped. So now his head is getting maybe not better, but it's at least where it was.
Not getting worse.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's definitely some lasting damage still, but maybe not to this. Yeah.
Right.
Extent.
Maybe it's steady at least.
Yeah.
Anything else about Hell in a Cell 1999?
Oh, I did have some more Igloo facts. Sorry. The Igloo opened in 1961. It was the first retractable roof sports arena.
Oh, I didn't know it had a retractable roof.
It did. Not anymore. I should have put that at the beginning. Oh, I also wrote gross and gratuitous Attitude Era.
Yes, this is definitely...
Which I guess definitely applies.
Yes.
It was very extra, as the kids would say.
Yes, it was very extra. But it was also lit.
It was. I mean, there was a tooth coming out of the nose.
Yep.
There was these thumbtacks.
First thumbtacks in the WWF.
Oh, really?
Yep.
And there was no really secret with those, I guess. You can't really fake.
He actually says the secret is to land in as many as possible.
Why is that?
Because if you distribute it,
distribute the weight. Oh, okay.
It's better to land in 100 than 2.
I can see that. That actually does make sense.
Yeah, and it's the same with really anytime you have some crazy object.
Right.
A chair shot's better across the whole of the back.
Yep.
Rather than just getting it
the
sharp point of the back.
Yep. No, that makes sense. But that's something you can't really fake. It's not they were fake thumbtacks.
Right, yeah, they're not. Yeah, you can't file down thumbtacks. You could file down barbed wire, but thumbtacks you're not going to really file down.
That would take a long time.
And supposedly afterwards, he was so out of it that in the back, he turned to the referee and said, "Hey, I really wanted to use thumbtacks. Do we get to use them in the match?" And the Undertaker looked at him while they were pulling thumbtacks out of his back and said, "Yeah, Jack, we were able to use the thumbtacks."
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
But, I mean, he's better now, at least.
right. And how did Undertaker feel about all this?
I think Undertaker was always kind of just like, show up, do whatever's on the card for him, and
Yeah, didn't have
unless
any
he is
personal qualms about it.
Yeah, and I mean, he loved Mick Foley because the mid-90s, there was a long time where it was Undertaker against, like, just big fat monster number 2, you know.
Right.
And then finally, when he got Mick Foley, it was like a guy who could actually wrestle with him and
Yeah, I
not
can see
just
that.
lumber around, wait for him to get in his spot and Undertaker to hit a choke slam. It was in
Right.
actual matches.
Well, he's had good matches. That Shawn Michaels one. I still
Well, yeah,
really
that
like
was
that one.
like Undertaker good matches really started in like 1996 though.
Gotcha.
With Mick Foley.
Okay.
And then from there he had good matches. I mean, the Shawn Michaels match was 2009.
Was it?
Well, which one? The Hell in a Cell was 97.
The one with the
I
eyes. Was it?
Eyes. Oh, that's 2009.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. That was a lot earlier than that. Well, see, now we got to go back to the beginning. I got to watch everything again.
Yes.
You
got to watch every match again. And before we go on, we're going to take a quick pause to just remind you of all the great shows on the PTBN Wrestling feed. Plenty of great content for you on both of our podcast feeds here at Place to Be Nation.
We have plenty of great content for you right here on the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed, including
the Place to Be Podcast, the mothership of the PTBN, where co-hosts JT Rosero and Scott Criscolo take you chronologically through the history of WWE.
PTBN Main Event with hosts Scott Criscolo, Nate Milton, and Steve Weil, breaking down all of the current events in the world of wrestling.
The Wrestling War Zone podcast looking at the Monday Night Wars, brought to you by JT Rosero and Chad Campbell.
Row 1, Seat 1, an interesting look inside the world of small-town wrestling and beyond, and beyond, with host Ben Zanny welcoming in a variety of guests each week.
Then we have Talkin' WCW heads to Center Stage, where Tim Cable, Greg Phillips, and Jennifer Smith look at the legendary promotion from WCW, looking at certain wrestlers in 3 of their matches each edition.
I think we combined. Extreme Three-Way Dance takes you back on a trek through the land of extreme with JT Rosero, John D'Amato, and Jennifer Smith.
Body Press Your Luck, a brand new wrestling game trivia show hosted by JT Rosero and Jordan Duncan.
With This Ring, in which husband and wife Ryan and Cindy Everett discuss specific matches in their respective fandoms.
We probably don't have to read that
that's
part.
Nice. That's us.
You Don't Know Billy Jack, where Drew Woodlaw and his friend Jordan watch and discuss some of the greatest pro wrestling matches of all time through the eyes of a non-wrestling fan, in search of a universal connection and pro wrestling storytelling. Kind of sounds familiar.
Similar, yeah. Plus, monthly WWE pay-per-view reaction shows and semi-regular shows like Jenny and the Gems, No Holds Barred, Adam's Division, Special Relations, and Jeff Learns Wrestling.
Also be sure to check out the PTBN Pop feed, littered with great content, offering tremendous shows like the Hard Traveling Fanboys, The Year in Pop, Laugh-In Theater, DC4U, Marvel Age, the Brother and Sister Rewatch podcast, and much more. Subscribe today.
And while you're at it, subscribe to Jennifer Smith's The Jenny Position feed as well, as it is the new home of Geek and Sassy, Talkin' Pop, Freak Out Drivin', Tellin' Stories, MCU Journey, The Infinity, and more.
And on our social media pages, make sure you look at the greatest sitcom of all time tournament. It is now underway. We are in round 1. There will be 4 matchups per day, so make sure to like our tournament on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. You don't want to miss a single one. Or actually just sign up on both so you could vote 2 times for your favorite show.
Is that what you've been doing?
Yes. Yeah.
What show have you been voting for?
Well, I mean...
each round.
Each round is a different show, yeah.
Yes, I've been noticing that as well. And we have officially kicked off our 2020 stretch project, determining the greatest WCW match ever. Oh, you have all year to do research, promote matches, and build your list. Conversation and rules can be found at www.facebook.com/GWCW matches or on the Pro Wrestling Only message board.
And coming later this year, that is how With This Ring will continue. We will eventually turn it into WCW matches, and hope you enjoy that. We're going to keep going down the top 6 matches that made my top 15 that we didn't cover yet. And the next two we could go over because they're pretty similar in
Sure.
where they are and who they are, and they both include John Cena. The first is July 17th, 2011.
Well, someone would have called you on that if you
Yes,
had that wrong.
made it. And then the next one was August 18th, 2013. 2011 is against CM Punk at Money in the Bank in Chicago. And then 2013 was against Daniel Bryan in the Staples Arena for SummerSlam. And I'm grouping these both together because, for one thing, they're very similar in that they both include John Cena, both against guys that were kind of like the internet favorite wrestler at the time. They both include Money in the Bank cash-ins at the end.
They are very similar the more you see.
Yes. And also, in both of them, John Cena loses pretty...
Good point.
Almost cleanly in the CM Punk one and completely cleanly against Daniel Bryan. Like, there's not even interference or any shenanigans whatsoever.
That's true.
Which is very unusual for John Cena to lose.
I was just going to say, when did John Cena become like the quintessential face that we think of, or that I think of today?
Yeah, well, WrestleMania 21 is when he won his first WWE title.
And that was 2005?
2005. So since then, he was kind of like...
Had the target on his back.
The main man.
The New York Yankees.
Yes. Like CM Punk said, he became the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it really was. Since then, no matter who else was around, he was, even if he wasn't the champ, he was the number one guy. Even after the CM Punk thing, even after CM Punk won the title from him, John Cena still main evented every pay-per-view, and CM Punk would defend the title midway through the card.
Well, CM Punk always had an axe to grind, I think. I think there's other things going on
yes.
in that conversation.
Yes. Well, CM Punk, yeah, he's a bit of a... So the two matches...
You didn't want to finish that sentence?
Nah, we'll just leave it there.
Okay.
He's known to be a curmudgeon.
Mm-hmm.
But, so the first match, the CM Punk match, was 2011, and before it, CM Punk had his pipe bomb promo.
Yeah, I can't tell you what that looked like.
It was... They show clips of it where he's, like, talking about how the WWF stinks and how he's leaving when he wins. And that, at the time, was really huge. Like, it was on SportsCenter.
Oh, really?
It was, like, being talked about by...
Crossed over to sports.
Yeah,
sports entertainment.
Yeah, it got big publicity. And it was enough that it was the first pay-per-view non-WrestleMania division that I actually bought in, like...
Really?
Probably, like, 9 years.
Okay.
I would say. Yeah.
Well, yeah, just living in Chicago, I just remember the Red Eye, the free paper you get on the L. Like, it was all about CM Punk.
Right.
You know, mentioning he lives in Wicker Park and bringing the title belt on the blue line.
Right. Putting
blah, blah, blah.
Slept with the belt in his refrigerator.
That's right.
At night. Yes. And it's the match. I mean, it's one of the matches that is great, but the crowd makes it even better.
Oh my God, the crowd is going berserk the whole time.
That
was the first note I had. Yeah.
And that was, it's like, I've seen the pay-per-view plenty of times. Throughout the night, anytime there was like a lull in between matches, it would just be a huge CM Punk chant.
Oh, really?
It wasn't just, but then obviously, towards the end, when they knew the main event was coming, it
kind of hyped it
got
up.
even more.
Do you know anybody that was there?
Not really.
Okay. No Brendan Green or...
I don't think he was. I think they were kind of still out on WWE.
Oh,
I mean, they watched a little bit, but very sparingly.
You're the loyal one that's been watching.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like like I said, from 2003 to 2011, I didn't order pay-per-views. That's
true, yeah.
Well, maybe WrestleMania I'd order, and for the most part, though, I would just watch it online. But this one, I was like, I want to actually pay money and show them that this is an interesting thing and they should keep it going. And I think it really was.
Yeah, it delivered.
Yeah, and it's definitely a good match. Both guys go back and forth, and like this along with the other match and plenty of other matches that we've seen, kind of makes the people that think John Cena is a bad wrestler look ridiculous.
Who thinks he's a bad wrestler?
Not anymore, really.
Okay.
But there was a time, up until like 2015, even people were like, "Oh, he's not that good. He just knows 5 moves.
He seemed pretty versatile. That weird sex move he did with Daniel Bryan.
Yes, he does
I'm talking what for the people listening at home. What move am I referring to?
It's like a test of strength sort of maneuver where he gets Daniel Bryan on the ground and then he starts trying to thrust on top of him, and
Daniel Bryan's
blocking with a bridge.
Yeah,
it's hard to describe auditory, but
I'm sure if people
if
are
you've seen
listening
the
to
match,
this, yeah,
you can picture it. Yeah, and like I said, both matches are similar in that. Let's see the times for.
They're long.
Yeah, the Punk Cena is 33 minutes, and the SummerSlam match is 26 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And so the CM Punk one, it comes at the very end of the show, and beforehand they show Vince McMahon, he's interviewed, and he says that he was not able to reach a contract negotiation with CM Punk, which obviously in real life they had agreed to something, but it was that afternoon that they actually did iron it out. So they probably went in having 2 different finishes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it's back and forth, and then at the very end, CM Punk gets distracted by Vince McMahon.
Right, yeah.
And like yells at him, and John Cena, John Cena gets the STF, and they allude to doing the Bret Hart screw job where Vince McMahon sends Johnny Ace down to have the ref ring the bell, and John Cena slides out and punches him because he doesn't want to win like that.
Okay, yeah, see, not having that type of context, that's what I need to explain.
Yeah, because also, even in the storyline beforehand, after CM Punk cut his pipe bomb promo, Vince McMahon suspended him, but John Cena said he still wanted the match. He had earned the match.
Right.
He was going to have the match with him.
What a classy guy.
Yeah, exactly. And even the commentary for the match, it was kind of weird how they kept trying to put over, like, how, the Chicago crowd is being won over by John Cena, which...
Yeah, that was not happening.
It was not Rocky IV, and the Soviet Union was not being turned against Ivan Drago. It was very firmly, anytime CM Punk got the advantage, he was still being cheered.
Right, that's just...
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes there's ways to... You could just say...
Improv a little bit, not...
Yeah,
that's
the biggest problem, I think, with WWE as a whole. The more and more we go.
What do you mean?
More and more non-improv, just stick to the script.
Gotcha.
And that kind of makes everything stilted and somewhat watered down.
Right.
But then, so John Cena punches Johnny Ace, his future almost father-in-law.
Almost.
Not quite. And then rolls in and CM Punk hits the go to sleep, gets the cover, wins, and celebrates, and then Vince McMahon, get Alberto down here, get the briefcase.
Right, yeah.
And he comes out, and CM Punk just kicks him in the face.
And leaves.
Sits on the barrier, blows the kiss to Vince McMahon, and then leaves the Allstate Arena with the belt through the crowd.
Yeah, people were losing their minds.
Yes.
Did he really leave, or he just kind of go backstage?
No, I'm pretty sure he
just
left.
Yeah.
Probably had a car waiting for him.
Went down to Shoeless Joe's.
Went to the Blue Line, took it home in his underwear.
Yeah, well, good for him.
And then, the next night, what they did was they had a tournament to determine the next WWE champ. And it was won by Rey Mysterio, but then Rey Mysterio had to defend it later that night against John Cena. So John Cena won.
Yeah, of course.
And then at the end of the show, this was next week, at the end of the show, John Cena was celebrating and CM Punk came out to Cult of Personality for the first time.
Oh, really?
Well, first time in WWF.
What was his music before in WWF?
It was like that emo... The music was like... I don't know.
I'll look it up. I don't remember it.
But, yeah.
We're not going to have Alexa play it.
And then it goes right back to John Cena versus CM Punk at SummerSlam, which is another really good match, but it's not quite the same.
Where was that on your list?
The second one did not make it, I don't think.
It's not even that good.
No, it did not.
Okay, so
I actually had probably low-ranked CM Punk matches. I don't have a lot of him.
it looks only had 2.
Yeah, which is probably wrong. But
Well, when you guys redo this in a couple years,
yeah,
you can
exactly. It'll change.
just like timestamp your list and then update it every 10 years.
All right, then going forward, 2 years later, once again, John Cena's the White Knight.
Right, yeah.
Who
Noticing a theme.
is allowed to pick his opponent for SummerSlam, and he picks Daniel Bryan because he's the most deserving member, he thinks. Most deserving member of the roster. And this was, just like CM Punk was huge in 2011,
Daniel Bryan
this was Daniel Bryan's huge breakthrough. This was when the Yes chant was getting its biggest.
I remember that. That's recent enough.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, it was 7 years ago.
It was
Jesus.
It's in Total Bells. So
that's how
you have a good
good point of reference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Including, I think this one has both of them backstage and Daniel Bryan and John Cena's t-shirts.
You're right.
So, same as the CM Punk match, I think very technical to start. They're like feeling each other out, and then towards the end they just start throwing big moves at each other.
Right, yeah. It kind of started, I said, low to the ground and scrappy.
Yeah.
And then near the end it kind of was more high flying, lots of different combinations, big moves, yes, mainly in the ring.
Yeah.
Not a lot of, like, I guess it's the Attitude Eras where they're all over the
these
place,
are both
but
pretty much in the ring.
They're pretty contained.
Like a dive to the outside here or there, but nothing.
Right. Kind of makes me appreciate the wackiness
of the Attitude Era.
Yeah, or like the 80s, or they're like running all around. But we'll get back to that, I'm sure.
Oh yes, don't worry.
Oh, okay.
So in this, it's kind of surprising. Daniel Bryan hits the running knee clean with the win, and that was the first time he used that as a finisher. Even.
Oh,
so that was like, it was totally out of the blue when he won. I mean, you kind of expected him to win the match, but winning that way, and you knew he wasn't going to have John Cena submit because that doesn't happen. So it was an interesting way to end it. And then as Daniel Bryan celebrates for a long time, like 5 minutes with confetti and his music playing, and John Cena shakes his hand and goes to the back. Triple H is cheering him on. And then Randy Orton comes out. And this time the Money in the Bank
is cashed in. Well, Triple H does
pedigrees Daniel Bryan in.
Why do they have to take it away from them that night? Why do they have to take it away from him that night? Why can't they just...
That makes you want to watch the next night on Raw and see what Daniel Bryan's going to do. And it ended up eventually working to WrestleMania 30. Different ways it could have gone. Maybe he should have won the Royal Rumble and not had Batista win it and have Batista get booed out of the building for 2 months. But eventually it worked.
Why was he getting booed out of the building for 2 months?
Because no one wanted to see him in the main event, and everyone wanted Daniel Bryan.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then supposedly...
They got to read the room on that.
It was supposed to be Triple H versus CM Punk originally at WrestleMania, but CM Punk left. So Daniel Bryan was able to be slotted in at WrestleMania and then win later in the night. So it ended up being... WrestleMania 30 became like the actual crowning moment.
Gotcha.
Where he wins and is successful and not taken away 5 minutes later by Randy Orton.
But to be fair, the WrestleMania 30 story is not Daniel Bryan, it's the Undertaker streak, you think? That's how I remember WrestleMania 30.
Yeah, I think
is the Undertaker
coming
streak
out of it was the Undertaker streak. But I think now, and definitely going into it, it was Daniel Bryan.
That's true.
That was like, that's one of the things that was so shocking about Lesnar beating the Undertaker. It wasn't that built. I mean, it was built up, but it was not a match that people were like, "Ooh, I can't wait for this one." It was like, "Oh, the Undertaker's going to beat Brock Lesnar."
Well, everyone learned.
Yep. Although looking back now, even as good of a moment as that was, the match itself sucks.
Okay. I do not remember.
Undertaker gets a concussion right away, and he's not really there.
That'll make a difference.
All right, and then the last match we will go over.
Which one do you like better between those two?
Well, I'll get to that at the very end.
I was thought we did an off the cuff comparison.
I think I will say I like the atmosphere for CM Punk match more, but I think the Daniel Bryan match is the better match.
I agree. Yeah. Definitely agree.
All right, and then for the next one we go. Oh, I'm guessing you've used up all your Staples Center and
Oh, yeah.
Allstate Arena
Fun facts for sure. And didn't find one for Dallas.
Next
Then
is
Bailey
April
Hutchinson.
1st. We go to the K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center.
Yep. I can do a quick Google, but I don't remember having any notes about that one. First, Sami Zayn versus Nakamura.
Yep. It is originally known as the Dallas Memorial Auditorium and the Dallas Convention Center. So
Okay.
it's got that going for it. And there were 9,000 people at this. And yes, it's Sami Zayn versus Nakamura.
9,000, that's it?
Yeah. And this was the first time there was a takeover around WrestleMania weekend.
Gotcha.
This ended up actually being the Friday, not the Saturday, because they still had the Hall of Fame on Saturdays.
Gotcha.
And it's Nakamura's debut in NXT.
NXT, yeah.
Yeah. And it's Sami Zayn's farewell to NXT.
Oh, so kind of.
Yeah, they're crossing
handed
paths.
Off, yeah.
Yeah. And it is just 20 minutes, but it is like
it's really good.
A total like Japanese style where they're just hitting big move after big move.
Mm-hmm. The crowd is really into this one too.
Yeah, the crowd is into both guys because Sami Zayn was at the time the face of NXT, and Nakamura, everyone knew him coming in.
Right.
Yeah, and it back and forth, and then at the end, just Nakamura hits his big move, the knee from the second rope knee, and that's enough to put out Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn takes the nice long farewell.
Oh, he does.
Yeah,
That's
he
right.
gets a curtain call, I think, even for his time in NXT, because really he's one of the guys that made NXT the brand like that it became. I think like he was on the first network takeover show and everyone until this one.
Yeah, I kind of remember first hearing about NXT with Sami Zayn and like Kevin Owens.
Yeah,
they're kind of buddy.
Right, they're and
then Bailey.
Yeah, and then the women came, and then also the tag teams, which we've talked about, the DIY versus Revival matches.
Yeah, those were good too.
So, yeah, it was good match. It's my second highest NXT match. My highest NXT singles match.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the Revival Gargano DIY one is
right. So my top 15.
Yeah, let me see.
In order.
Okay.
Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, the first Hell in a Cell match. Then Bret Hart versus Owen Hart from WrestleMania 10. 13 is the Royal Rumble match, 1992, with Ric Flair winning.
Well, you're going from top to bottom on this?
From bottom to top.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Next is Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn, as we just talked about. Undertaker versus Mankind, Hell in a Cell, is my number 11. Then Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 10. Cactus Jack versus Triple H in the street fight at the Royal Rumble. Then John Cena versus CM Punk. And then John Cena versus Daniel Bryan.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that
even in my ratings, they were right
really
next
close.
to each other. And then number 6, DIY versus The Revival. Number 5, Steve Austin versus Dude Love at Over the Edge, which we talked about earlier. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25. Steve Austin versus The Rock at WrestleMania X7. Bret Hart versus Steve Austin.
X7?
17. That was how they refer to it as, for some reason.
Oh, because people don't like the 7 Roman numeral. It's too long.
Guess. I don't know. They did it for 27, though. Fine.
X7. Well, whatever.
Well, it was 2001. Everything had to have an X in it.
Cool, yeah.
You know.
Y2K.
Yeah. Bret Hart versus Steve Austin, the submission match from WrestleMania 13, is number 2. And my number 1, as I said, it's been number 1 since 1991, is Ultimate Warrior versus Randy Savage. And just this week, actually, the overall results came out.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
So, amazingly, the Bret Hart versus Steve Austin match won, which is not really that shocking. It got the most first place votes. It got 16 of the 36 first place votes, and no other match received more than 3 first place votes.
Oh, wow.
So it just kind of shows.
Oh, these are all the people that voted for it?
Yeah.
High voter. Okay. Nice.
And only only one match got 3 first place votes, and only 3 other matches got 2 first place votes. So it was pretty unanimous.
Gotcha.
That it was.
Oh, it wasn't.
winner.
It's not the Hulk Hogan onto the Giant one, or
No, that was
blah
not.
blah blah. Yeah. Oh, okay. No, this is interesting. The Ricky Steamboat one's number 3.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels on.
Oh, the Owen Hart Bret Hart one is up there too.
Yeah, number 5.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
And
gonna look
then
at that.
there's, they break it down more and more.
Cool. Yeah, definitely.
Ultimate Warrior versus
Yeah,
Randy
can we go,
Savage
like,
was
top 5
number
at least?
6.
Oh, okay. Number 1
there's
in
my
your
name.
heart.
High voter. Me and Nikolaj.
Do you know Nikolaj?
No, I don't know.
You guys can talk about your favorite match.
And the Royal Rumble
obviously.
match.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Steve Austin versus The Rock.
Yep.
So it's not like there's
Too much variation.
all the top 15 matches are.
Yeah.
That's a little lower for me. This one.
Yeah. I was gonna
But
say.
I mean, they're all in there somewhere.
Uh-huh. Well, I'll have to do my list for WCW.
Yep. So I did break it down a little bit. So most appearances, and this includes if they're in a Royal Rumble.
Okay.
So some of these are Shawn Michaels is on it 17 times.
What's the 3 next to
3
him?
Royal Rumbles.
Oh, I gotcha.
And for him, it's kind
Oh.
of even because the one Royal Rumble match he's in his 1990s thrown out in like 20 seconds. So that really didn't affect he didn't really affect that one.
Right.
In 1992, he's in there for about 10 minutes. He comes in sort of towards the beginning. He's trying to like act like Ric Flair to Ric Flair. And then 2010, he's like one of the focal points of the match. So that's
Gotcha.
probably...
Okay.
Steve Austin has 11.
Yeah. Okay.
Mick Foley has 10.
It says Undertaker.
Undertaker
I'm
is 10.
surprised Randy Savage doesn't have more, but I guess 9's still a good amount.
Yeah, and with him, it's kind of like Shawn Michaels has had 1988 to 1998, and then 2002 to 2000.
That's
So he had
sure
16
long.
years, and at least the last 8 years of that, there was a pay-per-view every month.
Oh, wow.
Where
Yeah.
Randy Savage was there 85 to 94, so 9 years, but the
Different
most they
time.
ever had was 5 pay-per-views a year. So it's really a lot smaller sample size, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And
Edge.
Edge has 8, Chris Jericho 7, John Cena 7, which kind of surprised me with John Cena. And I was looking at some matches I left out. John Cena should probably have more.
Well, like I said, for your 2025
Yeah.
list.
Like both the AJ Styles matches that at SummerSlam and Royal
Oh,
Rumble, those both should have made it
Well,
on there.
next time. I'm kind of surprised there's so many, like, Tommaso. What is it, because of DIY? with,
Yeah,
like,
well, they
Gargano
have,
and Ciampa?
Ciampa and Gargano have 2 DIY matches, a match against each other, and then Ciampa also has the War Games match for Money Line.
Oh, yeah.
And, because when you think of Gargano, Ciampa, and Hulk Hogan, they're all on the same level of popularity, I'm sure.
Yes.
Just as many people know Johnny Gargano as Hulk Hogan.
Obviously, yeah.
All at 5.
Yeah.
And then the actual shows that have the most, no surprise at WrestleMania, having 27.
Right. And Takeover,
And
yeah.
Takeover's having 12. And then it kind of makes sense that SummerSlam would be the next one.
Yeah, Survivor Series and Royal Rumble, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Raw. Do you have a complete list of how many I guess Royal Rumbles kind of throw it off, like the number.
Right,
of,
yeah, like
discrete-
Skinner and
yeah.
Repo Man are in my top 10 matches.
Well, I meant the number of, I don't know if it's discrete's the right word, like different wrestlers, finite number of wrestlers.
Oh, no,
You know?
I didn't really do that.
How many total wrestlers are on the
Right,
list? No,
yeah.
that's okay.
I don't know.
I still want to do some. Well,
And then live,
saber
actually, I'm thinking
measures.
it's 6 of the matches I saw live.
Oh, I see.
And the highest one was Daniel Bryan versus Triple H at WrestleMania 30. And it was number 20 on the list.
Yeah, you got a lot of bang for your buck out of WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
You picked a good one.
Yeah, it was definitely,
You picked a good year to get married.
yeah. It was
Good WrestleMania.
Good year to get married. Great venue for WrestleMania. They have a bachelor party in.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, like the year before was, New Giant Stadium,
Ugh.
which you'd stay in New York. You had to take like a subway and a ferry to get to New Jersey.
Right.
And then the next year was Santa Monica or Santa Clara, wherever the
Oh,
49ers
that's right.
play. And that's another thing where it's like,
Come way the hell out
do you
there.
stay
Yeah.
in San Francisco for lots of money and then
Pay more
somehow
money
figure
to
out
get
to get the
there,
way
yeah.
out there? Or do you stay in Santa Clara for 4 days where who
Oh.
knows what to do?
I don't know. It's probably by the beach, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
But-
Where's WrestleMania? Well, it's going to be in LA, right? If it happens.
Yes, if it happens,
Yeah,
it'll be in
no,
LA.
post-corona. That's
Yeah.
right. I know we talked about that, but I couldn't remember which one.
Right.
What about the other ones for next year? It's like SummerSlam.
They haven't announced anything. I mean,
probably
Boston
smart.
was supposed to have SummerSlam this year, so maybe next year for them. And...
Well, Royal Rumble is always in the winter, so it's usually
Right. And
Yeah.
that's, I don't know if they announced that one yet, because that's usually, they've been doing it in like domed baseball
Right.
fields, so there's a number of those they could do. Be nice if they did in Milwaukee.
Ooh, that would be nice. I heard that's a good stadium.
It is. I've heard
We
that
should
too,
go there
yeah.
anyways.
Well,
Yeah.
we should do lots of things that we're not going to be able to do.
This has just been a time, man.
Mm-hmm.
You this podcast, you think we'd be cranking it out, but no.
Nope.
Well, also, I had a baby taken out of
Yeah,
it. So.
that was different. The third man in the booth tonight's been pretty
This
calm.
is really good, yeah. That's kind of where we're recording a little bit more in these hushed tones now.
But yeah, so as I said, we're gonna start next month with our WCW. We'll do a double shot of the Great American Bash and Bash at the Beach.
It's both bashes.
Yes, both bashes. The Great American Bash at the Beach blast.
Maybe before that, can we just record like a mini episode on like WCW background and like what its whole kind of context?
We could do that at the beginning of the next
Okay.
episode.
Yeah, I guess I don't need a whole explainer,
Yeah.
but all I know
You
is
want
it's
a
the
little
kind of the
bit-
crappy one that's Ted Turner.
Yeah.
That's-
Well, that's what
That's in a nutshell.
that's in a nutshell the WWE's version of
The
it.
too long didn't read version for me is crappy version that Ted Turner owned.
So, but it seems like you're willing to continue to take this ring with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks a lot. Place to be Nation, and we'll see you next time with our beginning to look at WCW.
Bye.
Bye.